January 2nd, 2014. To a lot of other people, that day is just a random day, you know. But to me, that day is really special because that was the first day that I was introduced to WWE. I remember it so clearly, and that's the weirdest thing because I was so young. I was only 4 years old, but I can remember it perfectly. I was sitting on my living room couch eating eating beanies and weenies, which if you've eaten beanies and weenies, you're a real one. It's good. It's good stuff. My older brother and sister were in their room playing Minecraft together. My twin sister was laying in bed with my mom in her room, and my dad was sitting next to me. And I'll never forget, we're just on TV scrolling through, and WWE SmackDown was on. And, I start watching, and something about it, man, it just captured me in a way I couldn't describe then, I can't describe now. I don't know. I don't know what it was. Something about it just had me. And I remember asking my dad, what is this, Daddy? Daddy, what is this? And he said, oh, this is, what do you call it? Cage fighting. Cage fighting, yeah. He said, this is like cage fighting, And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I really like this. And he was like, oh, well, it's on, this channel. If you ever want to watch it, just, you can come ask and I'll turn it on for you. And I remember, I heard about Monday Night Raw on the show. I heard one of the commentators talking about it, and I said, so Monday, and it was a Thursday that day. So I was like, okay, Monday, Thursday. So every Monday and Thursday, I'd be like, Daddy, can you turn on the cage fighting? Can you turn on the cage fighting? And I fell in love with it, man. It was great. I remember the first pay-per-view that was happening was the Royal Rumble 2014. That was the first one. And I remember the match I was most excited for, obvious, it had to be, right? John Cena and Randy Orton, Royal Rumble 2014. And I didn't really understand the concept of a pay-per-view yet. Like I said, 4 years old, but I barely know anything. Like I said, I don't even remember how I was able to remember this, but I was. I didn't understand the concept of pay-per-view, so I was like, can we do this? And my parents told me, no, I'm not spending money on this for you right now. You just got into it, for all I know, it could just be a phase that just you get over forever. And I was really upset. Fast forward the next month, Elimination Chamber. I ask again, also a no. About I think 2 months later, the WWE Network comes out. And finally, they say yes to that because it was $9.99 a month. They were like, you know what? You seem to really be enjoying this, sure. So we got the WWE Network, and the first pay-per-view I ever watched, WrestleMania 30. Pretty good show to start on, huh? Daniel Bryan, the streak ending. Fuck, I'm blanking right now, but I remember it being a really good show, Cena Bray, although that had the wrong winner. Anyways, and man, after Mania 30, my hype for it skyrocketed. I watched all of the weekly shows, all of the pay-per-views, everything. And through it all, of course, I had one favorite. And of course, it had to be John Cena. I know a lot of people hearing when I, started watching wrestling, they would think, oh, Roman Reigns was probably your guy. Roman Reigns, right? No. John Cena was my guy. And I think he was everybody's. Even people that, started watching around that time like I did. A lot of people, like I said, would think Roman, but Cena, I feel like, has been the only guy that didn't just win the hearts of his generation, but generations after, including mine. And I remember all the moments with him that I got to share. Obviously, I went back and I watched so much stuff, right? I mean, I watched so many shows from before I started watching, so many legends: Undertaker, Cena, Hogan, Austin, Rock. But the moments that I got to share with him were him winning his 15th championship at Money in the Bank 2014, the Brock Lesnar squash at SummerSlam, um, the him beating Rusev for the United States Championship. Oh, the triple threat at Royal Rumble 2015, which even back then I could tell was a banger match. 5 stars. Him winning, like I said, him beating Rusev for the U.S. title, Mania 31. The whole U.S. Open challenge. I remember him winning the WWE Championship against AJ Styles at Royal Rumble 2017. That was a 5-star match. All of his matches with AJ, honestly. I remember all those. I remember playing as him in all the 2K games and just having the time of my life as him. I remember when he started doing more acting, obviously, I remember anytime I watched like a movie or a TV show or an ad, a lot of ads. Especially, I remember it was some trash bag ad that used to play a lot. I don't remember which kind of trash bag it was, but I remember I'd see him and I'd be like, oh, that's John Cena. Wait, that's... I remember that. And we're going to fast forward a little bit to, I think, September 2017. I was 8 years old. And it was No Mercy 2017. The main event. Roman Reigns versus John Cena. And, I... Obviously, back then, you don't realize wrestling's scripted. It's a lot easier to nowadays with the internet and stuff, so I kind of had a slight grasp in my head, but not fully. So I didn't really know what was going on, with the whole like promo and the build-up that the one everybody remembers from Raw. I didn't really have a concept of that, but I remember when that match was happening. Man, I was pulling for John Cena to win. I was begging. I was like, please, John, please win this. And I remember when he lost, just like the pure heartbreak. I can remember it clearly. And I remember after Roman Reigns' celebration and the replays and everything, I remember seeing him sitting in a corner of the ring smiling, taking off his wristbands, setting them down, and leaving. I remember that so clearly in my head. And I remember from that day on, from 8 years old, I knew what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a WWE superstar like John Cena. And I remember I got on the internet on my big tablet. I got on there and I looked up I forget the exact words I used. It was some like pro wrestling training for like little kids. Obviously, no results. 8 years old. That doesn't, probably not good for 8-year-olds to be falling down on the mat like that, But I remember I was like, I need to do this as soon as I can. I need to. I felt like just a drive in my body that I had to do this. And I feel like a lot of that was from watching John for the 4-5 years that led up to that point. Watching him do all the things and all the promos he cut, and never give up, always roasted people. I remember watching them all the time and just loving it. And I just felt like the drive. And I would always talk to people about it, saying, this is what I want to do with my life, this is it. And, all the time people saying, no, it's just a phase, you'll grow out of it. Don't make decisions like that so young. You'll find something else. And man, I still remember everything. after that too. I remember WrestleMania 34 being so depressed watching him get squashed by The Undertaker. I remember watching him face Triple H at the Greatest Royal Rumble 2018. Um, which, gosh, so many people hated those Saudi shows and the Legends band. I remember after watching, the past matches, like I said, I watched so much stuff from back then before I started watching. Being able to see John Cena and Triple H go at it in 2018 was like, what? Like, what? I get to experience this? Like, as someone who started watching at 24, I get to see this. And that was awesome to me. That was so cool. I remember watching him come out as the Doctor Thugonomics at WrestleMania 35. And like I said, since I saw a bunch of stuff earlier, I was like, oh, that's a reference to all the way before I was even, wow, that's awesome. I was like, so wowed. I was like, dude, I get to see all this stuff. I didn't think I'd be able to. And man, it was fun. I remember the Fiend in John Cena's Firefly Funhouse match, which rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. Love you. He also, man, that's another one that just, as a bigger guy, and Bray Wyatt was too. He kind of gave me the confidence of like, maybe I could do this, Him and John definitely did a lot for me with that. Cena was obviously the one talking, telling the kids never give up, also loyalty, respect, all that. And then Bray Wyatt was like the physical embodiment of like, hey, even a big guy can still, I remember watching that. I remember watching him come back at Money in the Bank 2021 after the Edge match. I was jumping. Oh my gosh, John Cena. I remember watching SummerSlam 2021, hoping he'd beat Roman Reigns. Please beat Roman Reigns, please. And he didn't. I was heartbroken all over again. I remember watching him come back to face Austin Theory at WrestleMania 39 and losing, and I was heartbroken again. I even made a TikTok about that, which, gosh, that feels like so long ago. It was only 2 years ago. Gosh, well, almost 3, but still, that's still not that long. I went to Fastlane 2023, and I finally got to see him perform live in front of me. The tag team match, John Cena and LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. Random ass match, but gosh, I couldn't believe it. I was watching John Cena live. Are you kidding me? I remember watching him get murdered by Solo the next month at Crown Jewel. I remember being so hyped when he came out at WrestleMania 40 to help Cody Rhodes win the WWE title and finish the story. And I remember the absolute heartbreak I felt when he announced his retirement at Money in the Bank 2024. I remember thinking that I was not at all ready. And then the year came, and man, it was for all of the downsides, for all the negatives, I had a blast, honestly. I got 2 new friends into wrestling, myself alone, and I finally had friends to actually watch this stuff with, which from this point I had been watching it alone my whole life. So I finally had 2 friends to actually watch it with and talk about it with and like tell people my thoughts and feelings, and it felt so good to finally be able to do that. So that probably was a big contributor to why I had so much fun. And I remember a few days ago now, December 13th, Saturday night's main event. John Cena and Gunther. Watching John Cena's last match. Watching that smile. And the tap out. Watching him celebrate with everybody except for Randy Orton and Edge, which happens. But other than that, everybody, that helped make his career what it was. And watching him leave for good. And a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people back then, when I was younger, told me it was just a phase. I'd grow out of it. That was 2017 and I was 8 years old. Fast forward to now. At the time of recording this, it is December 15th, 2025. I'm 16 years old. And I still want to be a WWE superstar. Like my hero, John Cena. So, John, I want to say thank you for everything. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for all the fun years. Thank you for the great matches. Thank you for the great moments. Thank you for showing me what my purpose in life was and what I want to do with my life. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss watching you run down the ring, watching you perform. I'm going to miss you telling everyone to never give up. I'm going to miss everything about you. But you gave us a year, and I'm as prepared as I can be, and I'm going to try my best to live up to your legacy. After so many years of wanting to be like you and wanting to do what you do, I don't want to let you down. I don't want to be anything less than what I know I can be for you, to prove myself to you. John Cena, again, thank you. And your time may be up, but thanks to you, my time is now.